Hey everybody, how's it going? Wired here. I hope you're all having an excellent day. And I just came across this news article. I wanted to commentate on it. In the case of Maegan Hall, she was the Tennessee cop who was involved in getting 13% of her district fired because of sexual misconduct on the job. And this woman's really taken the term, F the police to a whole new level, if you know what I mean. And now she's claiming that she's going to come out here and say that this wasn't her fault, she was exploited, yada, yada, yada. And I don't know if I really buy this or not. I mean, she was pretty much getting around the entire department. She was getting with, it seems like pretty much everybody. You know what I mean? So she definitely knew her way around the barracks, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into this clip right here, and then we're going to get into the article. So let's hit it.
Well, a federal lawsuit targets the city of Laverne in the wake of a police department sex scandal. Maegan Hall was the only female among the 5 officers fired and then became the target of nationwide ridicule.
Tonight, Hall's lawyer tells News Channel 5's Nick Barris what happened was inexcusable.
And now they're suing over what they call a hostile, sexually charged work environment that victimized a rookie officer.
Maegan Hall was one of 5 officers, along with the Laverne police chief, fired last month for allegations of sexual misconduct on the job. But it was Hall, the only female and just into her 2nd year on the force, who became the face of the sexual scandal.
These predators, starting from day one, worked to break down her psychological barriers and convince her to engage in sexual activity that she didn't want to.
Attorney Wesley Clark, flanked by his client Hall, talked about the federal lawsuit they've filed naming the city of Laverne, former Sergeant Lewis Powell, former Sergeant Henry Ty McGowan, and former Police Chief Burrell Chip Davis. The lawsuit alleges the supervisors, quote, groomed Hall for sexual exploitation.
Maegan wasn't looked at like a rookie cop to be trained and promoted. She was looked at as a piece of meat to be sexualized and exploited.
The lawsuit stems from a police department scandal involving sexual misconduct both on and away from the job involving officers. There are no criminal charges. There are going to be those who say these are consenting adults and she's trying to place the blame elsewhere.
Well, yeah, it's really easy to think that whenever you don't understand the full story.
Clark says Hall said no on several occasions, but her supervisors kept pushing until she gave in. Racked by depression to the point of considering suicide, the lawsuit says when Hall tried to end the sexual conduct, threats were made against her.
That should be disgusting and outrageous to everyone who reads this case and understands the truth of what happened here.
The city of Laverne declined to comment on the pending litigation. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Nick. By the way, you saw Maegan Hall sitting there with her attorney while he spoke, but she talked as well about the environment on the job at the Laverne PD.
He constantly made sexual comments towards me, making unwanted physical contact towards me in front of others.
Yeah, Hall talked at length with Nick. You can watch for that exclusive interview on News Channel 5 this coming Wednesday.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know all the facts of this case. I'm not going to say it's completely outlandish, but I think Kevin Samuel said it best when he says accountability is a woman's kryptonite. So, yeah, let's get into the article here. The Tennessee cop fired over numerous sexual romps with other officers claims in a new federal lawsuit that superiors in her department sexually took advantage of her for the risque escapades. Maegan Hall, 26, who blamed a troubled marriage for her randy affairs, claimed she felt trapped and exploited in the midst of the all-male ranks of the Laverne Police Department, according to her 51-page federal complaint filed Monday. Where Miss Hall sought role models at her new job, she instead found predators, the lawsuit says. In place of offering professional development, her supervisors and the chief of police groomed her for sexual fun, let's say. They colluded in using their authority to systematically disarm her resistance and entrap her in degrading and abusive sexual things, even sharing tips on the best ways to manipulate and exploit her. The suit claims Hall, who had a history of mental illness, felt trapped in an attempt to escape. She nearly deleted herself. And here is Miss Maegan Hall right here, the most likely to be voted cop of the year for that Tennessee department. It seems like, she was very, very well liked in a department. And I don't mean to make jokes about this. I kind of do, actually. And I don't know how much really that this woman's claims hold water or anything like that, but it definitely seems like somebody not wanting to take accountability for their own actions. I'm not saying mental illness couldn't have played a part here, but this woman's married. She's a new cop on the force. But you probably realize that it's probably not protocol to get passed around in the barracks to anybody, actually. You're being funded by the state. I don't think that fits into the job description. But hey, that's just, I'm not a cop, so I don't know. Hall was fired in January after the word of the steamy escapades with 5 other cops became public, with those officers also terminated from the department, which that community has got to be hurting now. They're down 13% of their police force. So, in an interview during an internal investigation, the young cop admitted she performed sexually explicit things on duty and on police property and a threesome with one cop and his wife. Hall told the investigators she got stupid and got desperate in the midst of a divorce. I can't imagine why anyone would want to divorce such a lovely young flower. It's, completely shocking. Completely shocking. In a federal lawsuit, Hall, who was 24 when she first applied for the job on the force in 2020, claims she first became sexually involved with Sergeant Lewis Powell earlier last year. I assume this is, yes, this is Sergeant Lewis Powell. And then things got a little steamier, and then she branched out into other members of the force. She was not discriminatory in her practices of, trying to pass it around to everybody. Sergeant Powell learned that Miss Hall was going through the process of buying a home with her husband and that this process was extremely taxing on the relationship. Sergeant Powell positioned himself as a reliable source of companionship and advice regarding Miss Hall's career and her marriage. Sergeant Powell persisted in requests for sex despite Miss Hall's resistance. Eventually, Miss Hall gave in to Sergeant Powell's request for sexual favors. She said when she tried to break off the affair, Powell threatened to off himself. And there's a picture of her with her husband, divorced husband, I would imagine, which good for him to get out of that situation. I hope he gets the house, and I hope he gets most of the assets since he's embarrassed on the public stage. Not to say that this woman's claims could not be legitimate. They definitely could, but I don't know. I'm not really buying it. I knew a girl like this in college. She would get with people. She'd be embarrassed for her actions. And within a 2-year period, she went around accusing 5 different people of essentially the same thing. And I'm sure she went on to do other things after she got out of college. That's just... she's embarrassed about her actions, and hey, that's pretty much it. But that's just my take on it. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, or hey, if you didn't like it, then don't. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Later.